Today we're going to talk about Baruch Spinoza, a philosopher with an idea so powerful, so absolutely world-changing, that it cost him pretty much everything. See, he tried to solve the biggest questions in the universe, not with faith, but with the cold, hard logic of geometry.
So let's just start with the one big question that drove his entire life's work. Just think about this for a second. What if God and the universe were the exact same thing? I mean, what if everything you see, everything you can possibly imagine, the stars, the earth, your own thoughts, what if all of it isn't something God made, but what if all of it is God? For taking that one idea and following it all the way to its logical conclusion, Spinoza was branded a dangerous heretic. He was excommunicated, his own family disowned him, and his books were outlawed. This wasn't some quiet academic argument for him. This completely upended his life.
So yeah, a dangerous idea is putting it mildly. Let's really dig into where it came from and why it was so incredibly threatening to the world that he lived in. So get this, Spinoza's family had actually fled religious persecution in Spain, only for him to be cast out by his own Jewish community in Amsterdam. And the charge against him? Well, it was for his pantheist views, this belief that God is literally everything. He just refused to take the traditional idea of a personal, separate God literally, and for that, he was made a total outcast. Now, to really understand why Spinoza went down this path, you have to get a feel for the times he was living in, because the 17th century was, to put it lightly, an age of profound doubt. All the old authorities, religion, ancient traditions, they were starting to crumble. Thinkers all over Europe were asking, okay, but how can we actually know anything for sure? Everyone was searching for a new, rock-solid foundation for knowledge. And for many of them, including Spinoza, they looked to the most certain thing they could think of, mathematics. And you really can't talk about Spinoza without mentioning his famous contemporary, René Descartes. Descartes kind of started this whole quest for certainty, right? But he ended up concluding that reality was made of two totally separate things, the thinking mind and physical matter. That's dualism. Spinoza took Descartes' method and just floored it, driving it to a much, much more radical conclusion. He said, nope, there aren't two substances, there's only one.
And this brings us to Spinoza's secret weapon, his revolutionary tool. Because he didn't just write philosophical essays, he built his entire system like it was a mathematical proof. He genuinely believed that if you start with absolutely airtight definitions and some basic self-evident truths, he called them axioms, you could logically prove the nature of God, the universe, and our place in it, with the same certainty that 2 + 2 = 4. The goal was to strip away all the emotion, all the imagination, and leave behind nothing but pure impersonal logic. And this is his process, laid out step by step. It's just a relentless march of logic. First, you define your terms with absolute, unshakable precision. Second, you state your basic assumptions, the axioms. Third, you prove your points, your propositions, one by one, building on what came before. And then, at the end of every single proof, he'd famously write QED, that which was to be demonstrated. He's literally showing you his work, just like in your high school geometry class. And this, right here, is the absolute key to the whole thing. To get Spinoza, you have to play by his rules. When he uses a word like God or substance, you have to throw out the common everyday meaning. You can only use his specific technical definitions. It's the only way to unlock his system. Okay, you ready? Let's follow his method. Let's see exactly how these very specific definitions logically force you into his stunning conclusion. All right, definition number 1, substance. This is the bedrock of everything. A substance, for Spinoza, is something that doesn't depend on anything else to exist or to be understood. It is completely, radically, 100% self-sufficient. Just pause and think about that. What could possibly fit that description? Next up, he defines attribute. Now, these aren't separate things. They're just the essential qualities of that one substance. And as humans, we can perceive two of them. Thought, the whole world of minds and ideas, and extension, the entire physical universe. Think of them like two sides of the very same coin. So, where do we fit in? This is where he brings in the idea of modes. Your mind, it's just a finite mode of the attribute of thought. Your body, it's a finite mode of the attribute of extension. You're not your own separate substance, you're more like a temporary wave in the single, infinite ocean of reality. And if you follow the logic, this is the inescapable conclusion. It's the checkmate.
If a substance must be completely independent, then by definition, there can only be one of them, right? Because if there were two, they would limit each other, and then neither one would be truly independent. So this one, infinite, self-causing substance is what Spinoza calls Deus sive natura, God, or nature. They are one and the same, QED.
And believe me, this was not just some abstract philosophical game. This single idea sent shockwaves through Western thought that we can still feel today.
I mean, just look at the dominoes that fall from this one idea. If mind and body are just attributes of one substance, then there's no real separation between them. If everything is just one big interconnected system, God or nature, unfolding according to its own logical laws, then free will is basically an illusion. Everything is determined. A personal God can't pop in and reveal special truths because there's nothing outside the system to begin with. It's no wonder his ideas later inspired romantic poets and thinkers who saw divinity everywhere in nature.
So, we'll end with the question that Spinoza leaves for all of us. If you aren't a separate soul living in a body, but just a temporary expression of one single, all-encompassing reality, a finite mode of God or nature, then what does that make you? Are your choices really your own? It's a question that challenges the very foundation of how we see ourselves. And it's why Spinoza, the outcast, remains one of the most provocative and important thinkers of all time.